Here we are getting drunk festivally,
drinking a lot and doing some shots.
Dark rum and white wine, Prosecco is fun.
Now the drunk Christmas has begun. Watching a movie that's chosen by you.
Flo, come on, stay awake. Pour in some Jägermeister into my gin.
Woo!
Happy drunk Christmas! Hello, and welcome to Why This Film's Drunk Christmas. I'm your host, Emily Slade, and joining me is the fabulously festive Flo.
Woo! It's the ghost of Christmas past.
Surely Christmas present here in Christmas land.
Yes. Christmas past, though, because it's a movie from the past.
That is, yep. This holiday season, as voted for by you, we're making our way through 5 Christmas genres: action, horror, children, never before seen, and classic. All the genres. Today is horror.
Ooh, more ghosts.
It's a very ghostly time of Christmas. I blame Dickens. For all the horror ghost.
The horror of Christmas
Stuff. Yeah, I blame him. Because you can't... Whenever there is horror at Christmas, it tends to be with ghosts. She says, out of her butt.
Yeah, I mean, the list of stuff that we were going to watch, none of it was ghosts, but yeah, sure, why not?
Is as follows. From the choices of Black Christmas, the original babysitter with the phone call tale. Jack Frost, 1997, not 1998. Less charming,
Huge
Michael
difference.
Keaton.
Huge difference.
More fangs on a snowman. Krampus, which is a little bit cheating, to be fair, because it's quite a modern movie. And Gremlins. You're making us watch Gremlins.
It's a good choice. It's a
great choice. It's a good choice. It's a great choice. Cool. I was gonna say, like, how do we feel about that choice? So you've seen Gremlins?
Yeah, I've seen the Jack Frost movie, both of them. But yeah, I mean, let's be honest. If you're talking about like classic Christmas movies from the past that is kind of horror-y, it can only be Gremlins, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's a solid choice. I was pleased. I would have liked to have seen that Jack Frost, but I'm perfectly happy with this choice because I feel this is going to be a better movie, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like a good movie. We watch it very often in our house. We were introduced to it quite young.
Yeah, I saw it very young.
I think it's one of those funny ones that manages to slip under the radar somehow because it comes across with that sort of Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and it's so cute
vibe.
And it's I mean, same with Ghostbusters, where Ghostbusters really scared me when I saw it.
Yeah.
Because, like, there are so many bits in it that are appropriate for children, but in a slightly, like, on the edge way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw it young, and I know I've seen it a couple of times, but honestly, I think it's been at least 10 years since I've seen it. Probably longer.
Wow. This is the kind of one now that me and my sister have to watch once our parents have gone to bed around Christmas time. It's like, let's watch Gremlins. You know, you have your Christmas list of it, and you're like, what are we going to watch? And they're like, well, we have to watch The Holiday. You know, that Christmas classic. And then we're like, well, we have to watch Gremlins. And they're like, nah.
If I'm honest, I didn't really remember that this was Christmassy.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Christmas in it?
It's very Christmassy.
See, obviously that's all just gone right. I mean, I know it plays at Christmas, but that's gone right over my head.
No, it's you know, if someone at some point wears a Santa hat, it's Christmassy.
Yeah.
But it is more than that. It is, I mean, I'm excited because this movie has some of the saddest, darkest little moments from my young life. I remember hearing Phoebe Cates' little monologue and being like, that is not only my biggest fear come to life, it's also a lot of like what I've been trying to put in my own creative writing in like an angst way, you know, when you have just horrific ideas.
God, I don't remember
write them
any
down.
of this.
I'm
sad
excited.
Monologue by Phoebe Cates.
Oh, it's so
Is it sadder than the one in Drop Dead Fred?
She's good. She's good at bringing out these heartfelt, impossibly sad monologues. Phoebe Cates, where are you today? She's so beautiful as well.
Yeah, she really is.
And the two mains in this cast, very, very.
Who's the other person? I can see it here. I literally gave you. I can see it's Zach Galligan, but
thanks.
I thought you might know who that is more than me.
No, because he's not really been in much either.
Yeah, but I mean, from what I can remember, really good in Gremlins.
Very good, very, very good in Gremlins. Billy. Very excited to get into this. The rules of the game are anytime Mrs. Deagle threatens Barney.
Oh God, I don't remember this
I
movie.
was gonna say, does that ring any bells?
Is Barney a child? A dog?
We'll find out.
Okay.
Anytime a mogwai or gremlin gets wet.
Okay. Ooh. Yeah, I remember that.
Whenever someone says the word gremlins.
Okay.
Standard. Whenever the dad's inventions get used, which is fun.
Don't remember inventions, but okay.
And finish your drink when Gizmo drives his car.
Aww.
And Spike dies. Spoiler alert.
Oh, R.I.P. Spike.
Are we happy with those rules? We want to add anything? We want to take anything away?
Turns out I don't remember the movie. So, yeah, sounds good.
Nice. I'm excited that you don't remember the movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will come flooding back to you, but it's just so joyous. And obviously the animatronic and the puppetry is just such a delight. Yeah. Apparently every day after filming, they had to go around the car park and everyone had to like lift their trunks up to make sure that they weren't stealing any of the animatronics off the set. 'Cause they were so expensive.
Wow.
And what are you drinking?
I'm drinking wine. Christmassy wine.
What colour?
White.
I know I can see, but...
I'm holding it up to you in Zoom like, it's white, Emily.
It's white, Emily. But those at home.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking, I've had my obligatory shot of Jägermeister, and I'm now onto the Prosecco with some added crème de framboises. How do you say? It's strawberries.
From Boise? I don't know.
Framboises.
Framboise? And then just leave all the rest silent? What colour is it?
Well, seeing it's made out of strawberries, it's pink.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
I'm so excited to get into this. No
wonder you gotta drag people off the street.
Rude.
Add that line to explain why the fuck he's following that child.
Yeah.
Mister, look around. See if there's something you like.
Wow. Every evening when I start my night shift, I light every single candle in this store.
It's a nightmare. You've got customers knocking them over, burning down the store every day.
We've got brilliant insurance. Invention gets used.
Okie dokie. Drink.
What do you think?
I'm gonna be speaking Mogwai the whole way through.
Okay, cute.
You can't help it.
So this store sells like chess pieces, spiders,
incense,
gremlins.
live gremlins.
It's exactly what I've been looking for, and I've been everywhere. I'll give you $200.
Well, if that's exactly what you've been looking for, no wonder you haven't found it. Just a bowl or something. It's the 80s. Although he must be a bit like... You keep all this stuff that you don't sell in your store, and we're like going hungry. Like it's just an excuse for you to like hoard stuff.
Granddad, I need to eat.
Granddad, every time someone comes in to buy something, you say it comes with much responsibility and you can't sell it.
No matter how much he cries, no matter how much he begs, never feed him after midnight.
Till when?
Yeah, when does that end?
Like, I would be so scared. Like, at 9 in the morning, I'd be like, fuck, I don't know.
Is this okay? Like,
when is it safe for you to eat?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. This is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Voice of Kingston Falls, USA.
Roll credits.
Oh, look at the dog.
It's so good.
Oh, I love it when they just stare forward stupidly because they're like a stage dog.
Yeah. They got their eyes on the tree behind the camera.
It's so good because it's like, I guess it's not realistic acting from a dog, but it's like the cutest thing a dog can do to just like...
It's like 1920s Hollywood acting from a dog.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just staring off like with your
Beautifully.
face like 3/4 to the camera. Who is that?
Mr. Futterman, they don't run those comics anymore.
He's like in everything, you know, Small Soldiers. He's in Small Soldiers.
that
He always
guy?
pops up as the sort of blue collar worker in this director's movies.
Like he said, this director's movies. Like I might not know who Steven Spielberg is.
It's not Spielberg, is it? It's Joe Dante.
It said it was Steven Spielberg at the start.
Did
Maybe
it
it's
say
just a...
directed or produced?
Oh, you're right. It must be produced by him. Take it back then. I don't know who that director is.
It doesn't take you that long to get to work, Billy, so why do you drive to work?
He's just an American, isn't he? Oh, directed by Joe Dante. What else has he directed?
I believe Piranha 3D.
Oh.
The Burbs, Small Soldiers, Looney Tunes
Burbs.
back in action. The Burbs.
The Burbs. I've never heard of that before. Oh, the
Yes,
Burbs. Okay.
like the suburbs.
Not like, you know how people jokingly call birds burbs nowadays.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, it's like a Hitchcock remake.
The Hitchcock
but
parody, The Burbs.
Yeah. I was like, that sounds cool.
That sounds great. Oh. Here she bloody comes. You did stop me in the street when I was clearly on my way somewhere.
That
like
stupid fucking voice.
Good morning, Good morning.
Fuck off, Jim. You're always doing something. Right? You're not quirky, Jim. Leave it.
Boo.
Boo.
One of them will say they're hungry now. Hey. Mommy, we're poor and she's mean. They get it, hon. They get it.
Mommy, my clothes smell and I haven't eaten for weeks. Just keep listing stuff as you walk off screen. We had to kill our dog and eat it.
I miss him.
I want your dog.
Drink.
Barney?
Give him
Barney is a dog.
Bonnie's a dog.
Maybe I'll put him in my spin dryer on high heat.
Jesus, what is wrong with this lady?
Yeah, she's a bitch. She's literally like
She's
the Wicked Witch
she's
of the
not
West.
A bitch. She's like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, she reminds me of this when they had a serial killer character on Hollyoaks, and he was this grandfather type figure who everyone was like, oh, she's a poor innocent lady, except man, and he'd walk around going like, hello there, Lindsay.
I want to eat your
I'm
skin.
going to fucking kill you, Lindsay. And everyone would be like, oh, that's just Granddad. Leave him
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah, that's real swell. I feel like working for nothing.
This is such a specific brand of villain where it's like, the capitalism man.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, using a dad's invention.
Oh,
What?
sorry, I'm just scared for her fingers.
Oh.
Like, why is she not looking at what she's cutting?
You're right, her fingers are gonna end up in that onion.
Literally, she's putting the knife on her fucking fingers. Oh, don't do that.
Straight to the shaking. Billy, never do that.
No, never.
Yeah, like you just said, is it a bird cage? Possibly with a bird inside? He's like, woo!
I guess he's like, you'd never fully wrap up a creature, but his dad's like,
That's
well,
true.
I fucking have, so open it
Have you
quickly.
met me?
Can I pick him up, Dad? Sure, go ahead. Just be careful.
I don't fucking know. A kid sold him to me on the side of the street without his grandfather's
He
permission.
gave me a bunch of rules about it. I've no idea what it eats or what it requires. Do you know how they did Gizmo's voice?
I do not. I imagine it's just like Frank Welk or someone. Do you know what I mean? Like one of those famous voice
Yeah.
actors that sort of do animals.
It sounds like it's been almost put through a, like...
Synthesizer?
Yeah.
Howie Mandel. does Gizmo's voice.
Howie Mandel!
And Frank Welker.
Howie Mandel, who was the fit dog from David Copperfield when he's a cat, the thing I made you watch.
No way.
Howie Mandel as Mealy, the dog.
No way.
There you go.
Oh my god. That's so funny. And you know how I said Frank Welker as a joke? He's in this movie as a bunch of voices for Gremlins and
Nice.
shit. Do you ever have a glass of milk? I know he's quite young, but
Used to as a kid.
Yeah, fair. You never really have a glass of milk anymore.
Why is no one like... The hell is that?
It's a fucking alien monster!
No!
He got
A
wet!
rule!
Drink!
Who's in that jar? Nothing, just look.
In fairness, yeah, it's really the fault of that thing for having such an absurd thing happen to it when it touches water.
You cannot blame the poor being
It
for
is.
how it was born.
Gizmo's fault.
I mean, don't you think this is incredible?
Kids these days.
They just don't appreciate when an alien life form sprouts other alien life forms. Like we used to when we were kids, when we had those alien toys and we'd put them in the fridge and try and make them do it.
back and make them pregnant.
Yeah. Wasn't a thing. Probably the first, like, really good viral toy story, you know, where it was like people would buy aliens just to do that.
And everyone knows it. Everyone knows that's
Yeah.
how you make alien babies, but no one ever had any... Well, it's the first fake news.
Actually, no, in fairness, I think kids have always done that, probably. But, like, the people who made those aliens must have been like... For some reason, this weird story has taken off, and it's like the best thing that's ever happened to the company.
Our stocks are way up.
Because there's an urban legend that our toys can have children.
Give birth.
If you have the bathroom buddy,
How are you supposed to shave if the shaving mirror is also on the item?
That is an excellent question.
I'll bet every kid in America would like to have one of these.
No.
They might even replace the dog as the family pet.
He's right there.
Think about it. The pelts are pet.
Gizmo's so sad.
It's not.
It's not yours to breed.
Yeah, you didn't fucking make it.
You were literally given it with such explicit instructions, and like you believed the words of a 12-year-old kid who was like, my grandpa's crazy, rather than a clearly wise old magic man who was like,
Wise
no.
old magic man. The classic trope. Oh,
Poor baby.
imagine what a horrible thing this could be if he'd like hung the dog.
Oh yeah, I imagine that was in a first draft
Yeah,
somewhere.
and then they were like,
I just
no.
cannot imagine coming out onto the porch and finding my dog
I'd be
tangled
so,
up in fairy
so
lights. I'd be
upset.
distraught. I kept calling that kid Spike. It's Stripe. So I apologise. Stripe, not Spike.
Stripe.
By kid, I mean
Stripe.
the stripy
The stripy
mogwai.
one. Are any of them called Spike?
No, I always thought his name was Spike because it sounded more threatening, but his
Yeah.
name is Stripe because he has a stripe on
Makes
his
sense.
head. I love his jumper.
Yeah, it's a good jumper. He's got a great look overall throughout this movie. Like, lovely jumpers, lovely hair. Also, so far, it's been a really nice, like, understated performance, you know?
Yeah, he's very real.
I mean, he's not reacting realistically to the fact that he's got an alien life form that sprouts others. But apart from that, it's very
From
real.
that minor hiccup. Gremlins drink.
You gotta watch out for the farmers because they plant gremlins in their machinery.
Gremlins drink.
Same gremlins brought down
Gremlins.
a big one. Feeding gremlins for a watch.
Gremlins.
Such a good idea that you drive. Why don't you walk home?
What is that? Oh, it's a combine harvester or a tractor or something.
It's his plow. It's his Kentucky plow.
Oh, right. Not his combine harvester, as I said. Which seems like an odd thing to be parked outside your bar. I see, yeah.
Have you,
Snowplow makes more sense.
Have you ever had a troop of carolers come around your residential areas? I've never ever witnessed it in real life.
We did have that once, and it was
That's
no, but it was uncomfortable. You know, it was like
you're like, do I owe you money now?
And like I've been watching telly, and then I had to open the door to you and listen to a song and be like, you didn't have okay, to. I mean, you thought of it. Like they ring the doorbell. It's not just
it's like
they
trick and
stand
treaters or Jehovah's Witnesses. You can just be like, oops, I didn't hear.
I think because you don't expect it as well. Like the Jehovah's Witnesses, you open the door because you don't know who it is, and then you're like, oh no.
We can talk about it, on the phone and kind of square everything away.
What?
Let's square everything away. Let's do it.
I'd be like, oh wait, I just remembered I'm washing my hair on Thursday.
I'd just be like, okay, I'll expect you're cool. I don't know what's going to involve. That sounds terrifying, but okay.
Oh, that's so cute.
Good for them.
Still, 20 to 12, I wouldn't trust it. I'd be like, you can wait.
Yeah, because what if you get like a tiny crumb left at the bottom of the thing?
Yeah.
How do you get rid of them?
What do you mean? Like,
well, like, what would you do once you had them? You'd be like, I can't give them to people. I can't, I don't know, fucking, I mean...
Could you take them to a vet and have them put down?
Blend them up with one of Dad's inventions?
Oh, I also absolutely adore that in every movie they watch nothing but black and white movies.
That's all they watch.
They don't watch things in colour in movies.
No. No one has colour TVs.
No.
Did you feed them after midnight?
No.
Well, I gave them some chicken, but I made sure that it...
Oh.
No, wait a minute. I made sure.
It's dark.
Oh no!
Oh, those crafty little
Billy!
mooses.
Here, he's going through changes. Lots of changes.
He's going through changes.
Different.
He's going through changes.
And an appearance.
Ozzy Osbourne and Kelly Osbourne there. Is that who it is? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They sang a father-daughter song.
Yeah.
Much like the Sinatras before them. But at
I
least
liked it. I thought it was a cute song.
Yeah, it's a cute song, unlike saying something stupid like I love you.
Yeah, which was
just a bit creepy and unnecessary.
Hi, honey.
Oh, look how cute her gingerbread men are. Let's drink to that.
Just speak to Mrs. Deagle about it. If you just speak to her.
After you, hun. This is a great Christmas film because she is a brilliant pantomime villain.
She's good. I mean, I think she's almost not to be mean, but she's a terribly written villain. Where she's like out loud to people, "I'm gonna fucking kill dogs and make them suffer," and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Deagle," rather than being like, "Fuck you, you evil little bitch." Like,
it's a homage to that black and white movie we saw 2 seconds ago.
Day of the Triffids?
I don't know.
Tell you what, I don't know, but if it was Day of the Triffids, we'll look it up later, and if it was, we're down a glass.
Yes, agreed.
If not, we're down 2 glasses.
Agreed. Merry Christmas, bye. When the bell went in my school, it was that bell is for me, not you. In American movies, the kids are like, yeet. Bye.
They injected him with...
They just shoved the... They
bum.
killed him and then they just shoved the what is that called? Syringe.
So they didn't inject him with their blood.
No. They just stabbed it in his butt to be like, fuck you.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
It's a comment about experimenting on animals.
Yes. It's deep. It's very classic horror. I'm a big fan.
Alright, would you like to report the dead body?
Nah, I'm gonna chase the, creature through the air vents for a bit.
No, wouldn't care to report the dead man?
Nah. Gotta look through some cupboards first. what were you using that knife for when you were making gingerbread men? It's also perfectly
so
clean.
Just like, just in case one of the gingerbread men comes to life. Go, Mum, go. Stabby, stabby. Just
stabby
stab
time.
them all to death. That's not against the rules.
Yeah, that was never explicitly against the rules.
Yeah, it's well within the rules to just stab a gremlin to death.
Get out of the house.
I'm getting through this Prosecco.
Me too. I'm getting through the line. It's not even about, because it's not been like Shrek where the rules were like, there was one rule and it got you every 2 seconds.
Yeah, fuck.
Nothing like it. Just really, it's a good movie for drinking along to.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's a romp. Blend the bitch.
That's so funny. I literally said blend them with one of Dad's inventions, not remembering that happened.
Yeah.
Maybe it was somewhere in my subconscious.
I was like, we'll have to wait and see. But that's so brilliant because she's proven from the offset that she is willing to just fucking murder them.
Yeah. And also,
Smart.
she's doing really good here.
She's doing
like-
brilliantly.
Yeah.
She's fucking crushing it.
She's taking them down. She's
Yeah.
like, you shall not ruin my kitchen.
And then this is great because it's just her fighting a Christmas tree.
Yeah,
so it's
really
very easy.
good. And it allows for, like, she doesn't have to do that thing people had to do in so many movies where they're fighting a puppet, where they're holding it up to their face while pretending they don't want it there.
Fuck you!
It's Stripe!
What a little shit!
He blew his nose on the curtains.
Get back here!
Oh, he's broken into the school.
Yeah, he's chasing Stripe's tail. Not his literal tail. Gremlins don't have tails. But his, like,
Is that
trail is what I'm trying to say.
It's trail.
But
You're on his
because
tail?
I said
You're on Stripe's
Stripe.
tail.
No!
Stripe, you magnificent genius.
Yeah! He knows what's up.
I know what I'm doing.
What the hell is that?
Gremlins!
Gremlins in your trunk. Gremlins in your trunk.
So good!
Right, I barely saw any of that scene because you and I, the moment the synth kicked in, started doing like a disco rave.
How could we not? Oh, Deagle.
Well, that's alright. If they kill her, that's all good. Oh, she's disabled and stuff.
Well,
Or
no,
maybe
she's
not.
old. She has a lot of cats, though.
That's the same thing, though, isn't it? Like,
Well-
it's like, and she loves cats.
Yeah, but that's code for, like, crazy old lady in 80s movies.
Well, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with the 80s
It's changed
movies.
now, but back then it was code for, like, horrid person, I'm afraid. Lonely, horrid person.
She likes them.
Oh, please don't feel so... She wanted to kill Barney.
Maybe she's just been hurt and...
She wanted to kill...
Maybe one of the cats she loved was killed by a dog. That happens.
No, she's...
Christmas carolers.
See, she hates Christmas carolers. What a bitch.
Yeah, well, I hate Christmas carolers.
Do not relate to Mrs. Deagle.
Oh, hold on. Hold on, though. She loves cats. She hates Christmas carolers.
She was about to
Uh-oh,
douse
don't
them with
throw
water. They're singing their own theme tune.
Well organised. Like, where did they get these clothes?
I know.
It's so, like,
They're so on it.
Stripe must have incredible leadership that he's like, I've prepared everything. Yeah.
Bye, Felicia.
Question, they're standing in snow. Does that not multiply them more?
Oh, interesting.
That's just frozen water, baby.
It is.
They should be multiplying every 2 seconds.
All the time. Poor Phoebe Cates.
Wait, sorry, is Phoebe Cates trying to serve them?
Yeah. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you just be like, look, they want booze, I have booze, they won't kill me if I just keep giving them
I just
booze.
leave. I mean, I know you might die, but she looks like she's just trying to bartend. Like, oh, I'll get my tip in the end.
Like, oh,
crazy
yeah.
night.
They're getting their little personalities.
They're finally allowed to flourish in ways that Gizmo was not allowed to.
Coming into their own. It's the 80s. Flash dance, Gremlin. It's so Christmassy. I love how they walk.
No, I have another reason to hate Christmas.
What are you talking about?
The worst thing that ever happened to me this Christmas. Fireman came.
Oh, I remember this.
So sad.
Expecting them to pull out a dead cat or a bird. And instead they pulled out my father.
Okay, no offense to Phoebe Cates' dead dad, but that's the dumbest
I know.
thing I've ever heard of anyone doing.
I know.
Like,
I would be so furious. I would be like, what
What were you thinking? You were climbing down
Down
a fucking
the
chimney,
chimney.
that we still use. It's got, like, when I found you, there was a lit fucking fire because it's a chimney that's in use. And you climb down it with presents. I mean, like, awful, so sad, but it's one of those things where you're like...
But the logic behind it doesn't add up.
Sounds absolutely terrible, and, like, maybe that's happened before, I don't know.
Possibly, I don't know what chimneys are like in America either.
But it seems absurd as a thing of, like, yeah, because
Whose idea
people
was
will risk life and limb just to, like,
To
make
make
it seem like
fun
Santa Claus
point.
was coming.
Yeah,
rather
and,
than
like,
to just...
I would at least tell the wife to be
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna
gonna
do this.
And then the wife would go, no, you're not.
Yeah,
Like, that's the
yes.
first thing I've ever heard. Just walk, I'll make sure she's upstairs coming through the door.
Yeah,
and I'll go,
yeah.
oh my god, he came in through the chimney. Because we needn't, like, risk our death in order to make our child believe a lie. But, you know, he didn't do that, and now he's dead. So what does that say?
But bless Phoebe Cates.
I'm really sorry if that's ever happened.
No.
It sounds
Yeah, no.
absurd.
Again, apologies if that's how you've lost a loved one. But
I mean, many people die every year pretending to be Santa Claus climbing down a chimney, and that is the real tragedy of Christmas, famously. But it still seems odd to me.
it's very strange. It's very stupid and an unnecessary risk.
And also, like, such a sad story to give a woman who gets no... Like, I like her character, but she doesn't get, like, much development
Yeah, that's
outside
what she
of...
gets. I had a dumb dad and he's dead now.
Yeah, like, I hate Christmas, like, 3/4 of the way through the movie. Here's why. Okay, anyway, on with the story.
And legitimately, this movie is like another reason why I hate Christmas.
yeah, you're like, what else
So
is
she doesn't
there?
even get over her fear like Die
Yeah.
Hard Man. At least that
Yeah.
made sense thematically,
Yeah.
even if it was very problematic. This scene is iconic.
How do they know the word?
They know the words!
How?
Because they
How?
love it!
No, tell me how. How have they seen it?
No, they just know it. You know the words. They know the words.
Yeah, but I've seen it. I was
They
like
haven't seen
born yesterday. To work we go.
They're loving it. They're having a great
Gizmo knows it. What the fuck? What does this mean? Are the Mogwai
It's easy to
created
pick
by
up.
the Disney company?
Watching
Were they like discarded toys from Disney that were supposed to know all the songs? And that
Maybe.
then there was something
Oh, look,
terribly
one of
wrong
them's
with
wearing
them.
Mickey Mouse's.
How does this not bother you? This is like, I feel like we've unearthed a
because it's
conspiracy.
So fun. Look at the cinema full of gremlins
Yeah, that's
dicking
great.
about, singing along to Hi Ho. I don't care how they know. They don't make sense. I don't know where they've come from. So for them to know the words to Snow White, which is skipped about 10 minutes, by the way, that annoys me more. The fact that we've just skipped 10 minutes of Snow White. Look at him. He's got a popcorn bucket on his head. They're having a great time.
Gizmo does not get as much screen time as I remembered.
If he gets the water, it'll start all over again.
I'd like to see a little bit more of him.
He might have been very expensive.
But it's just funny because in the same way that it makes sense for the villains to be more conspicuously absent because it's good when they appear, it's weird when the hero character is like always slightly poking out of the bag because it's like we can't animate them for every, second.
It's almost like he's not the hero.
Yeah, now I feel like a kiss. I mean, I know I was talking about my dad dying horribly like 15 minutes ago and then we blew up a cinema, but like, I'm feeling a little bit horny now, so let's just... Teenagers, man.
They're not even teenagers. They're clearly like 26.
Yes, they work in a bank. Yeah. They both work in a bank.
Well, I mean, Thingy said he was 23, so we can assume that they're sort of that post-university graduate position. I love your jumper. A great array of jumpers. I want... Sell me the Billy Putzer jumpers. I will buy them.
How did Spike do that? How do they know about transmission? How do they know? They're literally electricity. But how? I'd love to know more.
Well, isn't that part of the fun, the mystery?
Isn't it fun that like we have no reference for why they do things?
You get to decide. You don't have to be told everything. You're your own person. You have independent thought.
Don't need to be told things that are important for like why things happen. That's a very American way of looking at it.
We've been trashing Americans this whole episode. This is a formal apology to the United States of America.
It's like a movie and it's like, who cares why? Death. And I'm
Just
not saying that other things do that totally, but like, that is a thing where you're like, but why? Why are the villains doing that?
It is interesting. Like, we're really not told anything about them. And the fact that they're sort of in Chinatown, I think it's meant to be, hey, an E.T. doll. E.T. worming his way into fucking everything.
After he said phone home. Stripe is a massive fan of E.T.
He's a big Spielberg fan. He stands the Spielberg. Can you blame him?
Oh, her hair looks great.
So good. Oh, shit! Stripe! Stop it!
This is, I guess, like a sort of Costco Walmart type thing. It's smaller though than those things.
But they're selling everything. I don't understand.
Well, I mean, I went to Costco once while I was in Canada, and they really did have like, here's the aisle where you buy rafts.
The ski wear section.
The aisle where you buy food. And like, it was just weird in that sense. You were like, oh, okay, my rafts and my food, I get that from the same store. But you're right, the store even seems small, but it's covering everything we need.
Yeah, it's like a
and it's
huge
got a fountain in it.
Department store. Like a...
That is quite like Walmarty, I guess. Ow.
Walmart sounds like an absolute dream. Gremlins!
Gremlins, drink.
He's a proper little shit. The other ones were like, we're gonna turn your lights off. And he's like, I'm gonna shoot you in the arm.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna kill you.
Oh, he's driving his car. We gotta down our drinks. We're full. If you can't control a chainsaw, you shouldn't be allowed to wield one.
Is that how a chainsaw works? It will harmlessly carry you across the floor if you put it on the ground?
He waited for Billy to be like, watch what I'm gonna do, bitch.
Yeah, he stood there for hours like, fucking, come on.
Well, Billy wandered around the, like, toy aisle, like, what the fuck? Oh, baby!
Bonnie, baby! You clipped him, you mustn't clip him.
Bonnie, you helped!
Bonnie! I'm so glad he's here.
Stripe dies. Drink. Oh god, he's still fucking alive!
Oh, that's very cool. I mean, it's sad for Stripe, but... Oh, that's very sad. I hope he suffered. He did suffer.
He suffered. That was his skeletal remains writhing in pain as he melted to the floor in a bubbling ooze. To Stripe.
R.I.P. Stripe. You didn't ask to be born the way you were,
you didn't ask to be born.
You were made to suffer for it.
And you did the best you could with the little knowledge that you had.
You were a good leader.
You were a great leader. You were very organised.
There was, I believe, a box
You've just come to say I fucking purchased him from you, and I'm sorry that, you know...
behind his back, without his permission, from his underage grandchild.
Right, fine.
The transaction was almost definitely not legit.
He's my pet. But why did you have him in your store, you stupid
But it wasn't for sale. He was at the back, hidden under a bunch of drapes.
You can't just keep shit in your store and go, oh, not for sale.
You can if your store is underground and
That's
you
what
are
people
not.
who like sell fake Rolexes do, where they're like, oh no, sorry, that one's not for sale. And you're like, why not? And they're like, well, maybe for this amount. You know, he always meant to sell them.
Do not understand. You are not ready.
No one's ever ready, in your opinion. But to be fair, these people were definitely not ready. Well, Corey Feldman wasn't ready.
It wasn't even like, it was like mistakes.
It was literally Corey Feldman's fault.
Not to be, but you've got a stupid animal that like can't deal with water on Earth. It's like 80% water.
You mean you understand what he says when he speaks to you? To hear, one has only to listen.
What a great message.
Means
I still don't
I
speak
still understand
Mogwai,
what
but...
Gizmo says. I'm listening as hard as I can.
Bye, Billy. Bye, Billy.
Today, you may be ready. Until then, Mogwai will be waiting.
Can you imagine if he made that his life's work and every year he would visit Chinatown and be like, am I ready yet?
I wanted to tell you that I am
Am
truly
I ready?
No, it's a sort of like imperceptible.
It's like a
sense
you
of
were
being ready.
you were meant to forget that we existed, and
Yeah, I didn't mean it to be like, oh, literally one day you'll be ready. Come by every day. Like, stop it. And he'd be like, I won't. I want my pet back. And they'll be like, no.
Happy Christmas. Grandpa.
So if your air conditioner goes on the fritz, or your washing machine blows up, or your video recorder conks out, before you call the repairman, turn on all the lights, check all the closets and cupboards, look under all the beds, because you never can tell.
Don't get murdered.
There just might be a gremlin in your house.
Gremlin. Drink.
Drink. Hell yeah!
I enjoyed that.
So I like it. As you said, there's bits in it that I'm like, why is the dad narrating?
So I would never want to get rid of it, but perhaps the choice of narrator could have made a little bit more sense in the fact that the narrator could have either have been a clearly more wiser onlooker, such as the man who
No, he was just the dude telling the story about what his son got up to one Christmas.
Which is fine, but you know when narration usually backpedals, where it's like, and it turned out that I was Wendy the whole time, or whatever. Like, I'd have liked the narration.
Like, this is who I am. You needn't ever doubt who I am.
So for the
this is my name. I'm a businessman, and then
to have learned
anyway, this story's nothing to do with me.
A more valuable lesson is to don't sell your grandfather's creepy, mysterious shit to strangers because you're hungry. Lesson. Not that it even affected him, because I don't think it reached Chinatown, which is found in.
He was fine.
What, probably
I think he was
York
probably
or LA?
scolded in the sense of like...
Yeah, he never turns up at the end, so we don't know what happened to him.
Maybe he was murdered by a
How could you?
I mean, I don't even blame him. I think the whole setup was ridiculous. His grandfather was keeping a monster that can turn into a murderer in a shop of stuff he sells.
They're not murderers. They're just mischievous.
Like, oh, not for sale. And then, like, full of a shop of things he doesn't sell, it seems. So I wonder his...
Yeah,
and he just told his grandson to go out into the cold of winter.
See, this is where we differ.
Find a man to buy his stuff.
No, I don't think that man ever... I always read it as that man was a mysterious gentleman from the East who lived there and guarded ancient bullshit to make sure, like the Warrens' Cave of Wonders, where they keep like Annabelle the doll and shit.
Yeah, but they don't sell shit.
Yeah, no, but he doesn't sell shit. We said at the beginning that everything anyone picks up, he's like, it's too much responsibility, leave. I don't think he wants... I think the grandson with his American baseball cap and his capitalist ways has succumbed to America. And he's like, look, hon, we need to like make money. And the grandfather is like, no, we need to guard the treasures of ancient Eastern ways.
I just feel
and
like
therefore
you can't
that's
paint
why
the kid as the trouble.
I'm painting the kid as the trouble.
No, because either his grandfather hasn't just explained to him the meaning of the shop that he mans. Like, what, does he make him work at it
Because
every
then
day
it's
and
a liability. If you're like, all of this shit is genuine, ancient, real,
it's a fucking
scary...
liability if you tell your grandson, we have a shop full of stuff we want
That
to sell.
grandson
Why
could
are
have
we
been
going
there
hungry, Grandpa? Because we didn't sell the stuff.
For the Christmas.
Okay, I'll try and sell the stuff. No, you must never. You must never sell the stuff. It's an idiotic thing to have a rule
you don't
to have
know.
with the child.
That grandson might have just been visiting for Christmas. He could live in like the Bronx with his parents, and he's visited his old grandpa for Christmas break.
Shit for Christmas
and
Eve.
he's like, Grandpa, we need to fucking make money off this shit.
Maybe, but I could also make up any bullshit story that makes it unacceptable that happened. Like, it's just a batter, because the film, and I'm not saying it as because the film, I think, it's the right length, and it's and it has good action stuff, and it doesn't matter. But if we're going to analyse it, yeah, you could say that's why it would happen, but maybe I'll say, actually, it turns out the grandfather's like a horrible, abusive person, and he sends the child out into the cold just to be a dick, and then when he brings someone back to buy something, he says no, not for sale, because he wants the child to suffer. Like, we don't know, it could be either. I can make up any shit.
But from the limited time we spend with these characters,
they don't interact. The grandson and the grandfather doesn't
believe
I don't believe your thing.
I don't
your
believe
thing
your
is
thing.
Pure conjecture. I mean, I don't believe my thing either.
My thing works with the tone of the movie.
That was an example of the bullshit I could say if I wanted to. Like, I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm just saying your thing is the same level of unlikely, where it's like there was no proof either way. It was just like,
that's fair.
you've seen him in a baseball cap and you've gone, I think it's when he's visiting over the holidays.
I don't know. It's interesting how little information we get, and perhaps that was purposeful, where they were like, no, you don't need to know.
I mean, I love that they don't feel the need to be like, it's an alien egg, it's a thing. They're just like, there's like an animal, yeah? You know how you find animals sometimes? It's a weird little animal. It's got rules. And you're like, cool, I like that. Like, I like that it's so...
simple.
Yeah, because not everyone's going to know, like, someone who's selling something doesn't necessarily know the story of something. It's just a little bit weird that they start it off in a, like, kind of, what's the word? Like, a really stereotypical, like,
yeah, they take
Chinese den of bargaining.
Yeah, they take the blame out of America and they plant it in a different
And it's just odd, because it's like, I mean, maybe that's a really common store, but I don't think it is, of the like...
Well, we have Chinatown here in London, and there are your stores where you walk in and there's sort of bric-a-brac and bizarre little things, and there'll be one sort of in an undergroundy type vibe. So you can believe, Big Trouble in Little China vibes.
There's stores that, like, what's the word, sort of... in the sense I've always got that those stores are more, I want to say, I'm going to say bending to that stereotype, but I don't mean bending. I mean, like, they're choosing to go after that clientele. They're like, you think there should be a weird bric-a-brac shop. So
here you can buy incense and mogwai. You're welcome.
But maybe I'm naive, and actually it's the other way around, and that there's like... I don't know. You know what? The fact is, I don't know, and I have no basis of reference to make a thing. So
I think it falls into various stereotypes. Some that are perhaps not as enlightened or fair as they I don't even think they intended to be. When you look at the writing of Mrs. Deagle, you're like, I don't think anyone cared too much about how anyone came out of this. We have wholesome good characters. We have tragic illogical characters. We have bad characters, and we have stereotype characters. And
it's weird how bad I felt about Mrs. Deagle. And it was like, I know she was just a pantomime villain, but I just felt bad in terms of the, like, you line up an old woman enough, and I know this is going to be too sensitive, so feel free to judge me for it, but there are so many things where you just line up a grumpy old woman who's not being nice, and I know she was really actively being horrible, but it's that thing of like, oh, a grumpy old woman who doesn't smile at the bank and stuff, like, she's a horrible bitch, so it's like, really lay that on hard, and then it'll be fine when she gets fucking catapulted out a glass window into the street. And I know she was a bad woman, but like...
I know,
I think the problem I had was that she was, unlike other, like, bad characters in it, who, in fairness, Capitalism Man is like an example of that, where he didn't have a lot going for him.
He disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get murdered because of his love of capitalism.
Yeah, he completely disappeared as a character.
But, like, there were some bad characters, but they had a certain sense of, like, still some humanity. And I know that they deliberately probably took away her humanity because they wanted that death, and they were like, that would be cool, but we have to make sure she's really unlikable.
Yeah.
But I found it, like, with how unlikable they made her, I was like, you're setting her up. Like, it's like you've decided you want to kill an old woman, so, like, do everything that, like, it's not remotely realistic, or, like, a behaviour that would happen at the back,
I do
but
agree
fine,
with
she
you.
wants to kill dogs all the time.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally Lady Hamilton from Wizard of Oz. She's the Wicked Witch of the West, like, through and through. And I think you make a really interesting point. You've got the 23-year-old capitalist arsehole who would be the real villain in any other piece, disappears after the second act,
and
like,
I'm glad they let him
completely
go,
vanishes.
I don't want to also see that kid die.
But this is the
he
thing.
was 23 and he was looking forward to his future.
This is the thing. You couldn't kill the 23-year-old bright-eyed dickhead as much as he's a dickhead.
But you also can't. I'm sorry, just because she's a woman and she's old.
No, and I agree with you.
Cool that she's,
but think about it. It's 1980 whatever. We're playing so hard to hardcore old-fashioned tropes, and we're homaging old-fashioned cinema in such a huge way. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just trying to see where they might have come from. Almost definitely, incredibly thoughtlessly. But
no, I agree. And I'm really not saying it's, like, offensive or anything. I think I've seen that trope in many a thing where, like, the old bitchy woman dies.
It's frustrating though, because we also had Make America Great Again, and he doesn't die because he gets a phone call to the cops after he's apparently snowplowed.
They played with tropes, and the only one who had a really horrible death was the old woman.
Yeah,
and it was weird.
It's tired to see now.
And in fairness to the filmmakers, they gave her everything they could to make it appropriate for them to kill her. Like, they gave her whole monologues about how she'd like to make a dog suffer. But I still, when it happened, was like, that's an old lady, man. Like,
just because she doesn't buy
I
things.
don't really want to see a filmic thing of, like, how, a really funny death by her, because you're like, but she's...
It's interesting, isn't it? Very few people seem to die explicitly on screen via the Gremlins, other than Mrs. Deagle, who is, as you say, set up in such a way to be like, boo, every time you see her.
And also the science teacher, and
who again is just like,
I guess they set him up as doing, like, experiments against people's will, and that's supposed to be it. But it still didn't make it okay to me. And I'm not, because it's a horror, so it's not like everyone who dies you have to be like, yes, righteous justice. justice.
Yeah.
But with the science teacher, I got the sense it was meant to be more sad. Although in fairness, like, it was never brought up afterwards, so maybe that was also supposed to be righteous justice, in which case that's another example of how they had this unfair stereotype of a science teacher who also, like, experiments on living beings in his spare time, and you're like, pretty sure it doesn't happen like this. Like,
and
does someone who made the movie really not like their science?
But also, like, for whether they intended it or not, only black character, first person to die in the horror movie.
Agreed.
So just millions of layers of awful choices.
Not awful choice. Like, it's a
lazy
fun movie.
well,
it's good, but like some tropey lazy things.
And
I'm calling them tropey.
This is the thing. Perhaps they were original
out in the 80s.
Back then.
Maybe at the time it was like, that's not a pattern. That's just what's happened
that's
in
just
this
what's
movie.
happening.
But now that stuff feels really patterny, where it's like the old woman dies.
The old woman and the black man are the only people
dies,
who die in this movie. Really on screen.
Yeah, it does that, and it also does the tropey, like, the Chinese people in the film are like strange,
it's Professor Chang's monologue from Community, where he's like, he talks about, what's expected of him. Like, you think he's going to be mysterious, and you think he's going to be teaching something, whatever, but he's teaching Spanish. It's that whole vibe applied to this, where it's like, yes, lots of beard stroking and pipe smoking.
Yeah.
Because
saying, like,
non-American, Eastern, if you will.
Eastern. I'm from the Far East, so I don't think like you. I think.
Did you just fall on the floor?
Yeah, I was trying to get my Vaseline with my feet, and it just all fell apart. Ow. I properly fell off my chair.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
But yeah, it's tired and it's tropey, but I think the use of animatronics and the really fun use of the gremlins themselves are worthy enough to bring this back as an annual treat.
Yeah, it's good that it, like, overall, despite the fact that it falls into some really 80s tropes that now wouldn't be acceptable in a movie, it's fun enough at the other points that I didn't feel like, oh, I'm so worn out by having to, like, overlook that shit because it's an old movie, and, like, I still had a good time.
Yeah. It's so fun. The soundtrack is so good. It's so good.
It really, I mean, I can't even talk much about a lot of it. I know there's some good Christmas songs in it, but I love that funky synth beat. Like, it got me so excited. Like,
yeah, it's so much fun, and it completely covers the tone of the movie. It completely, like, gives you what. It sums it up. If you, like, you show someone you try and explain Gremlins to someone, which must be hard in the first place, but you just play them that song and they'll be like, I know exactly what I'm in for. Ooh, Gremlins.
The man who plays the hot dog from David Copperfield, the animated movie where David Copperfield's a cat.
Abs dogs. I can't believe that was him. I can't believe that. Whenever people are like, the little girl from The Haunting of Bly Manor is also the voice of Peppa Pig. Samara from The Ring is also Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. The voice of Gizmo is the hot dog from the animal version of David Copperfield.
The French-Canadian animal version of David Copperfield.
Go and listen to that episode if you haven't already.
I don't know if I feel Christmassy. It ended with a lot of murder and melting and stuff, but I feel like... And also that whole horrible story about the chimney, which really doesn't even make sense.
Not very festive, not very logical.
Not festive. That bit was not festive.
Very sad, but beautiful performance from Phoebe Cates there.
Beautiful performance. In hindsight, I'm super confused by that scene because she doesn't require that.
Yeah.
Like, they liked that story,
Yeah.
so they decided to put it in.
Yeah.
But you're like, it's not necessarily to the film,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily to her character.
But it's so memorable.
I mean,
And
yeah,
you
but
know
what
what?
do it?
Sometimes I appreciate that. Like, what is the point? No, I'm not going to come for that because you'll wipe the floor with me. But
No, go on, say it.
it's going to be like, what's the point in the restaurant scene in Reservoir Dogs? Tell us. Does it establish everyone's character?
Yeah, that's all it is. It establishes everyone's character in the sense that, like, it's and also the fact that it's a really relaxed conversational scene that then leads into a scene of complete, like, torment. But agreed in the sense that it's there because I get the sense it's there because Quentin Tarantino wrote some incredible naturalistic dialogue
essay about
and I need
Madonna.
like a scene here.
Yeah.
To have it in,
Which-
and I wanted me to be the one to say it,
Yeah.
but then people are like, fucking stop, like, no.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of that. Whenever I write anything, I write these really long scenes of fun human dialogue, and I'm like, I want it in, and then I look at the piece as a whole, and I'm like, it makes no sense to anything. It's just really funny and fun to have.
Yeah, and that's, hold on, but both you and Quentin Tarantino, as great like minds, have gone, it's funny and fun, and it's good.
And I want it.
And the people who wrote Gremlins were like, this is incredibly depressing, but, like, let's give it to, like, a little teenage girl. Sorry, no, she's not a teenager, but she does look like a
Like
teenager.
vibes, yeah.
Yeah, and just make her say it. And I, like, you know what? I'd be fascinated because, like, maybe that happened, or maybe like
I wouldn't be
it's to do with
surprised.
someone's grief around, like, losing someone at the holidays, and, like, maybe it's a result of because of Christmas celebrations, not necessarily in that way, but in a like, you know, there are more accidents over the holidays because people are celebrating and maybe doing foolhardy things. So it's like possibly that comes from somewhere, and so I don't want to tear it apart, you know.
Yeah.
But I just felt hearing it like I needed questions answered. I felt like I needed Louis Theroux to swan in there and be like, "So, I'm so sorry to hear about your father. Would you be able to talk a bit more about that and, like, how it happened?" Because she just says it, and I mean, no one can say anything because it's really sad, but you're like, what?
Wait, what?
What?
It's so interesting. I've just gone onto the IMDb trivia, and the second thing that they have after the first thing being, it is the same set as Back to the Future. Ka-ching, go me. The Santa speech proved to be controversial, and studio executives insisted upon its removal because they felt it was too ambiguous as to whether it was supposed to be funny or sad. Director Joe Dante, however, stubbornly refused to take the scene out, saying it represented this movie as a whole, which had a combination of horrific and comedic elements. Executive producer Steven Spielberg did not like the scene, but despite his creative control, he viewed this movie as Dante's project and allowed him to leave it in.
I mean, it's very iconic.
It's honestly the main thing that I remember from Gremlins. When I think Gremlins, I think Dad got stuck in a chimney and died.
You even said at the beginning, like, that's super sad and stuff.
It stuck out to me. And I agree.
It
He's
sticks
right.
out to me. And a cool scene. But also I can understand that controversialism because now I can say, knowing that it wasn't based off, like, Dante's terrible childhood memories or something.
Well, we still don't know that for sure.
For sure. Like, that's incredibly unnecessarily sad thing to give someone who's not had many words beforehand. And it almost felt to me like sort of just randomly ramping trauma onto a randomer because they were like, this is a cool idea. And like we said, like with Tarantino, sometimes he goes, this is a cool idea, and you're like, somehow it all works in to a situation. But it's like with those, like, you know, with the restaurant scene, I know I won't go on about Reservoir Dogs, but even though the dialogue itself is probably based on just something Quentin Tarantino wanted to get off his chest, and he got a cool, like, he got a CD from Madonna afterwards that was signed like, "Dear Quentin, it's about love, not about dick."
Fun fact.
That, like, you still get the thing from the characters in that scene, like, that's a reason to show the interaction of the characters. So the actual dialogue is not that important. It's about how, like, Mr. White and Mr. Orange seem, like, really close, and Mr. Orange looks quite admiringly to Mr. White, and Mr. White is clearly close to Joe, and Joe is clearly the father of Eddie, and things like that. And Mr. Blonde and Eddie have a sort of antagonistic, friendly relationship. That stuff's what's important.
Yeah, of course.
That monologue in Gremlins, and I mean, in fairness, now that I'm suddenly saying it, I can't believe I'm like, here's how we compare it to the starting scene of Reservoir Dogs. But, like, that doesn't have that bit of it where it's like,
there's
it's
no
something
addition.
Cool, but the point is that you get
serving
to know these
a further
people.
purpose. Yeah,
because it's just.
It's interesting.
I mean, maybe the further service was he was like, Phoebe Cates can do it, and I think
and
really
therefore
well.
we get to give Phoebe Cates a bit more to do. We give her a bit more of a character alongside side love interest.
And that's cool, but I just also...
And as a kid, I think I always thought, what a brilliantly tragic way to do that. To give her something more about her, to learn a bit more about where she's come from and who she is. What a brilliantly sad way to do that. And as you say, as an adult, fundamentally, her character doesn't matter. She could not exist, and the movie would trundle along just fine.
Yeah, and also just that, like, her big plot thing is something that happened in the past to do with the like, it's not really, like, it's trauma,
it's
but
not
it's not necessarily to do with her.
Yeah.
And then nothing that happens later is like a
tied
balm
into
to that.
Yeah.
It's just like, this terribly sad thing happens on Christmas, and then also this terribly sad thing happens on Christmas, but I'm kind of recovered by the end because, like, two sad things equal a happy thing, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, good night, everyone.
Do make a right.
The end.
Yeah, no, you make a brilliant point. It's so bizarre, and it's so out of place, and it's seemingly out of nowhere, and you can see why the movie execs were like, no.
And yet, so funny, because obviously that struck people as really iconic, and you wonder if Gremlins would be as memorable if it wasn't for...
If it didn't have a fucking big-lipped alligator moment in the form of a Phoebe Cates tragic monologue about how her dad died. Like, it's really, really bizarre. And, like, really big shout out to Steven Spielberg, who, 20 years after his big break in Jaws, to be like, you know what? Go for it, mate. You do what you need to do.
Their big break. Like, that stuff matters.
Like,
that's really good.
Follow your heart, man. And it's like, yes, thank you. Like, even though you didn't like it, you still let me do it. And that's really, really big. Like, that's really huge. Like, thank you so much. Because this movie, at the end of the day, is so much fun. And it's so easy to drink to. And it can get you Christmassy if you want it to, but it doesn't necessarily have to, which I think is a pretty big deal, because there are some movies that I'm like, we cannot watch this until fucking December. And it's kind of bad for the movie, because if it's on TV or if it's on being reshown at the cinema, I won't give it my money or my time. But this movie, if it was on in the middle of July, I'd be like, you know what? We can do Gremlins right now. It's not even a problem.
Even though you're right, it was a very Christmassy movie.
Nice. Well, we've watched it. And we've been your hosts of Christmas Past. What did you think about Gremlins? Let us know in the comments below. This isn't a YouTube video. This is a podcast. So you got to find us. You got to find us and then tell us.
Let us know on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
possibly YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, we're on YouTube. And that's it. That's it for socials. Thank you for joining us for our drunk Christmas. I'm very drunk. I feel like I'm gonna get told off in the morning for being so loud.
Me too. Let's get in some trouble, baby.
Oh yeah, like the Gremlins. La 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 la.
You watched it so many times before, and now you're gonna watch it again. But it's been so many years since you last saw it, and now you show it to your friends.
I can't
and they're like, what? Huh? What the fuck is this? It fucking sucks.
I hate this.
It's called Gremlins, and this feels very 80s for what?
So
why this
film? Hooray! Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, the best thing you can do is head to Apple and leave a review. You can find Why This Film across social media on Instagram at Why This Film Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Why This Film Pod and / or like me on Facebook at Why This Film Podcast. You can support the podcast at www.patreon.com/Why This Film Podcast, where you have early access to episodes as well as bonus material. And you can find episodes, weekly reviews, and more at whythisfilmpodcast.co.uk. Now go back and have a shot every time I say podcast.
Hi, Scarlett.
Hi, Dave.
We've got to convince the wonderful people of this world why they should listen to our new podcast.
Okay.
So, what exciting things can people expect from us?
Well, they can expect witty anecdotes. I was about to pick up the broken bottle and on guard!
A wild boomer appeared. David used shock.
Exclusive insight into the acting industry.
I played Hitler's valet and I handed him a plate of milk and cookies.
She started on Hollyoaks. Why don't you give them a call? They'd love you. And of course, intelligent conversation.
We're talking about you having a weird crush on Colin Firth and suddenly you're shagging a Greg's pasty.
My life's exciting. What can I say?
I think that'll about do it.
So grab some drinks and come join me, Scarlett Bryant,
And me, David McCulloch.
for our brand new podcast series. 2 actors walk into a bar.
I think that's enough to convince them. Cheers!
Cheers.
Right then, folks. What'll it be?
A tomato juice and Worcestershire sauce, a packet of salted nuts, and a subscription to 2 actors walk into a bar podcast.